ఆర్థిక అభివృద్ధిలో తెలంగాణ దూసుకుపోతోందని ఐటీ శాఖ ప్రిన్సిపల్ సెక్రటరీ జయేష్ రంజన్ అన్నారు. స్వరాష్ట్రం ఏర్పడిన 7.5 ఏళ్లలోనే ఈ ఘనత సాధించిందని గుర్తు చేశారు. తెలంగాణ సర్కార్ అనుసరిస్తున్న విధి విధానాలు, అమలు చేస్తున్న పాలసీ వల్లే ఇది సాధ్యమైందని చెప్పారు. ప్రజలకు ఉపయోగపడే పాలసీలు తీసుకురావడమే ప్రభుత్వ ప్రధాన ఉద్దేశమని తెలిపారు. దీనివల్ల అనేక కంపెనీలు పెట్టుబడులు పెట్టేందుకు రాష్ట్రానికి తరలి వస్తున్నాయని చెప్పారు. ఇంటర్నేషనల్ నాలెడ్జ్ అండ్ ఆపర్చునిటీస్ నెట్వర్క్ ఆధ్వర్యంలో హైదరాబాద్ లో జరిగిన సదస్సులో జయేష్ రంజన్ ముఖ్య అతిథిగా పాల్గొన్నారు. వివిధ రంగాల్లో ప్రతిభ కనబర్చిన వారికి ఎక్సలెన్సీ అవార్డులను ప్రదానం చేశారు. ప్రముఖ పారిశ్రామికవేత్త రాజు రెడ్డి, IKON ప్రతినిధులు ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి హాజరయ్యారు.
International Knowledge Opportunities Network, IKON, I think that's a group that is well known in Hyderabad for various activities that we have been doing in the past few years. We started this group in 2017. We did quite a few events, including awarding top performers, women entrepreneurs, women professionals. The most recent event that we did was in August 14, which the city witnessed in a very nice way. We have awarded almost 132 people, starting from high-performing individuals, high-performing organizations, NGOs, and also individuals who stepped out during Corona time and helped other individuals. We call them Corona warriors. We also recognize them. Now, why do we do all this? Because IKON as a group, we want to play a part in putting Hyderabad on the map. Or maybe putting Hyderabad on the map might be a wrong statement, because we already have a fantastic place in India map. We want to intensify the presence of Hyderabad in the business arena. Now, this event, what we call it as the Fireside chat with business leaders, it's an event where we have called a few business leaders to interact with us, and we are going to discuss on the topic Hyderabad as a business destination. Now, by discussing this topic, we are going to analyze various strengths of Hyderabad, of how it has played a role in building Hyderabad as a business destination already, and what can be done better by corporates, academia, collaborate together and continue to make Hyderabad as a place for future businesses to come in. Now, that's going to be the objective. We have some guests who you will be witnessing pretty soon. They will come and talk about how Hyderabad as a city is developing, and then the business leaders will talk about how they are contributing to it. And we'll have an intensifying interactive session with all those, also the audience asking us some questions. And as always, IKON means there has to be some recognition. We also have some awards that we are going to give today. Not 100, only 5, but we have picked again a few individuals who have excelled in their area of work, and we would recognize them today as well. Thank you.
Raju Reddy Garu, all the speakers, all the panelists, Mr. Dinesh, Ms. Leena, invitees. Let me begin by congratulating all the persons who have received awards for their distinguished services in healthcare, in education, in corporate world. Congratulations to them, and I'm sure this award will motivate you to excel further and become role models for others to really emulate you. I'm also grateful to Raju Reddy Garu for sharing his insights about how a state or a city can become an important magnet for attracting talent, attracting capital, and the role that the government here has played in Telangana to make our state and our city very, very attractive. So to say, go-to destination for some of the biggest investment groups across the world. Raju Reddy Garu himself has been a great brand ambassador for Telangana in the US, where he lives in the Bay Area, Silicon Valley area. He commands lots of respect, not only amongst the Indian community, I mean people of Indian origin that is, but also everyone. And his recommendations, his kind of network, his connections have been very valuable for us also to get access to some other big companies, subsequently whom we have been able to attract to Telangana. So thank you very much, Raju Garu. Plus, he has himself spent a large part of his money, time, effort in creating a very unique institution. Earlier it was in Hubli in Karnataka, called the Hubli Sandbox. But then he and Mr. Deshpande, another very successful Indian origin entrepreneur in the US, they have replicated it in Nizamabad, where the Kakatiya sandbox it was started in Nizamabad some years ago, but now, as Raju Reddy Garu mentioned, it has expanded to other parts of the state also, and is promoting lots of youth entrepreneurship, native wisdom, native innovation in solving some of the most pressing problems in the areas of agriculture, education, livelihoods, and so on and so forth. So, I will also expand on some of the points which Raju Reddy Garu mentioned. I'll also share some numbers with you. Some of you may not know these numbers, so it will be useful to get a familiarity with how the state has made progress. As all of us know, Telangana is a new state. It was created 7.5 years ago, and it is not the first time that new states have been created. New states have been created before also. In fact, in 2001, 3 new states were created: Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and Uttarakhand. And obviously 20 years have gone by since those states were created. But we know how those states have turned up. In fact, it's only out of politeness that we still call them as developing states or emerging states, though we know very well that nothing more will develop there, nothing more will emerge out of that. And there was a very strong possibility that Telangana could have also suffered or gone through the same path, that it will also be forever called an emerging state or a developing state. But as Raju Reddy Garu rightly pointed out, leadership had a different level of motivation and determination. The determination of our Chief Minister, other senior members of the cabinet. I work very closely with Mr. K.T. Rama Rao. His motivation has always been that people were not confident about whether Telangana will become a successful state or not. So we should prove them wrong by coming out with policies, programs which are extremely people-oriented, which take the state to very high levels of economic growth. And the numbers speak for themselves. In these 7 years, the economic growth that we have achieved, the contribution the state makes to the GDP, the growth in per capita income, I mean, some numbers are really startling. 7 years ago, when our journey began, our per capita income was amongst medium performing states or average performing states. Today, our per capita income is double of that of the national average. Similarly, in terms of the contribution that our state makes to the GDP, we are the 4th biggest contributor. Though we are only 12th in terms of size, 11th in terms of population, but in terms of contribution to the GDP, we are the 4th ranking state. So obviously, the state is punching way above its weight, and some of the strategic programs or flagship programs that we have launched today, they have become national role models. For example, some of you may have intuitively understood it, but may not know the exact numbers. So for the last 7 years, almost 30% of the government budget has been spent on agriculture and agriculture-related infrastructure, like irrigation projects, etc. We have the credit of building the world's largest multi-stage lift irrigation scheme, a scheme which at any other time and in any other state would have taken easily more than a decade or even 2 decades to complete. It was done in 3.5 years in Telangana. We speak about how China has very speedy execution of projects. You start some project and within months it is all up and running. So this is even more impressive than China, because the kind of complexities, engineering complexities that are involved in that project, to achieve it in 3.5 years is nothing short of a miracle. And so many other programs. We are the first state where farmers are given a direct benefit, and today the whole country is emulating it under the name of PM Kisan Yojana. Our sustainability initiatives, for example, the huge tree plantation programs that we do. So some of you may know, it is called the Harita Haram program. We are planting 240 billion plants over a span of 5 years, over a span of 7 years. And this is the 3rd largest human effort in recorded history to plant so many plants. And it is not just random plantation. There's lots of science, there's lots of application of mind. most importantly, there is a huge effort to make those plants happen, because survival is not 100%. If you actually neglect the plantation, survival may be as low as 1% or 5% or 8%. But to ensure that 80%, 90% plants are surviving also requires lots of effort and lots of concentration. So state has made rapid progress in all aspects. It has been considered a very well-governed state, and even in the subjects that I look after, IT, information technology and industries, our progress has been phenomenal. 7 years ago, I remember, I was a member of the combined state at that time. I was the commissioner of industries. So I used to deal with industries at that time also. And there was by and large a very low level of optimism about Telangana. Many industries in 2013, 2012, 2014, they had more or less given up on that state. At that time, of course, it was the combined state. But the prospect of Telangana was not appealing to people. They were not confident that any industries will go there, any investments will come there. There was a fear that even the existing IT industry and regular manufacturing and services industries will leave this place. But we know what has happened in these last 7 years. Not only has no one left, but the ones who are here have expanded like anything, and a host of dozens and dozens of new investors have come our way. In fact, I can say this with complete confidence that the momentum is now so strong that even if we don't want to, investments will continue to flow in the state. No week passes that we don't sign up some new investment deal. We get confirmation from some company about about their expansion, about their ramping up, and so on and so forth. So one of the reasons why there is so much of confidence in Telangana, of course, good governance is one very important part. In fact, some of you may know this, that when 7 years ago, when our Prime Minister became the Prime Minister, he started a campaign called Make in India. And of course, Make in India is a good thing to say, but action really happens in the states. And Prime Minister, because he became the Prime Minister after working as a Chief Minister for many, many years, he knew that. And therefore he told, when he started the Make in India program, that states must also reform. And I feel very proud to share with you that the state that reformed the most is our state of Telangana. We came up with such an extraordinary investor-friendly, business-friendly policy that from day one onwards, we became the gold standard for other states to be measured. And so good governance, reforms, and very transparent, very ethical way of dealing with everyone, supporting everyone, giving the investor a sense that we welcome them. See, most of the times in the earlier periods also I've seen the attitude towards investments have been that, okay, he's seeking a favor, I have to give a favor to him and he's obliged to me. But the attitudes were changed completely. No one is seeking a favor. They are actually doing a favor. They could have gone and invested anywhere, but they have chosen to invest in your state. They're adding to the economy of your state. They're creating jobs in your state. So you should be respectful for them. And with that mindset that investors are partners in our progress, they are the ones who are going to usher in golden Telangana. The entire way of dealing with them change. They feel so happy. They repeat their investments. I can give you an example. There is a company called Hindustan Sanitary Ware. They manufacture these, these wash basins, and if you see in the bathroom, they will have that HSIL logo. It's a big company. This is a company promoted by a person called Sandeep Somani. So as the name indicates, he's not a Telugu person. He has nothing to do with Telangana. My guess is that he is a Sindhi. Maybe his forefathers were in Pakistan, then they moved to India and all. Obviously, nothing to do with Telangana at all. And if it was a Telugu person, and if he's coming to the state investing, one can think that, okay, he has some sentiment, he's coming back, he's giving it back, like Raju Reddy Garu and others, but he has nothing, no sentiment of that kind for Telangana. In the last 7 years, he has brought in 6 projects to Telangana. He has not invested just once, twice, 6 times. Any new project that he wants to do in India, he just closes his eyes and automatically brings it to Telangana. because the going has been so good, the policies are so good, no one disturbs you, no one exploits you, everything is done ethically, people are there to help you at all times. And there are many such examples. I mean, this is not just an isolated example which I say so. Even global companies, multinationals, all of them feel attracted because of good governance. And of course, good governance is one thing, but it has to be matched with various other things. For example, the infrastructure has to be good. So we have taken great pains to ensure that the urban infrastructure in Hyderabad, in other cities, the rural infrastructure, they keep pace. Some of you may be able to recall or perhaps might have forgotten, but I can share this with you. 7 years ago, when this bifurcation was going on, just as many people in Telangana wanted the bifurcation, wanted a separate state to come in, there were many people who did not want the bifurcation also. And one of the criticism or one of the reasons they were mentioning about against bifurcation was that they were telling that this state will become a dark state because the power generation is all in now the Andhra Pradesh area, the coastal area. And their saying was that you will have no power, so you will be dark, and they also meant that the people who will be governing you, they will also have not the vision or the sight to administer you well. So when the state became a state, of course the power generation was all there. So we started as a deficit state, and we could have had a very serious problem with electricity. But our chief minister had such strong motivation that because they were telling that you will become a dark state, I have to show to them that there will be not even a minute of power cut in Telangana. So right from day one, that is June 2nd, 2014, we started buying power from other states, which are surplus states, just to ensure that not even a minute of power cut is seen by households, by industries, by commercial. And of course, in the last 7 years, we have created our own generation facility. So now I don't think we buy power. We are more or less self-sufficient. Maybe we are slightly surplus also. But for many years, just to prove a point that you told that I will be a dark state, I will show to you that even for a minute, we will not be a dark state. So that is the administrative acumen, that is the quality of infrastructure that we provide. Hyderabad and Telangana have always been a country or rather a region where entrepreneurship flourished. Many entrepreneurs of Telangana have done very successful entrepreneurial projects, not just in this state, but outside the state, outside the country also. Raju Reddy himself is a living example of the entrepreneurial prowess of Hyderabad. Talent is available in plenty. We wanted that talent to become up to date, to become industry ready, and therefore the government introduced programs to shape that talent, make it industry ready. So everything which people look for in an ideal state, in an ideal city, our law and order, all of you would be aware, those who live in Hyderabad, about the surveillance cameras, the she teams, and all kinds of other technology enabled policing, etc. that happens, makes this as one of the safest, crime-free and secure cities. So things which people expect, that city should be well governed, well administered, law and order should be under control, talent should be available, city should be affordable, city should have good quality of life, good social infrastructure, should attract talent from all parts. So some of you may be aware, in the last few months, unfortunately, this controversy is happening. Some few stand-up comedians whose let us say whose ideology is not very aligned with the ruling party in Delhi. So, for example, if they want to do a stand-up comedy show, they will be banned in Bangalore, they will be banned in Chennai. They'll never be banned in Hyderabad because such things will never happen. We are really cosmopolitan. That whether you are in favor of government, whether your views are against the government. See, a comedian is only a comedian. You can't take him seriously. And banning a comedian or a comedy show is a very immature kind of thing. So these things will never happen in a city like Hyderabad. So these are the signals, these are the messages which people see outside, hear outside, and that is how they repose their faith again and again in Telangana, in Hyderabad. So Hyderabad as a business destination is a very important topic of discussion. I'm not saying that we are perfect in every way. There are still areas where we can improve. We always are open to good ideas, good suggestions. And the last thing which I would like to tell is that we have always felt that whoever is living in Hyderabad, who has invested in Hyderabad, who does business in Hyderabad, some of you have schools here, some of you have medical institutions here, some of you have set up companies here, some of you work as professionals here, who live in this city. They are our biggest brand ambassadors. Our state doesn't have any brand ambassador in a formal way, because the belief that people who live here, work here, have businesses here, they are our natural brand ambassadors. And if they feel happy about the city, about the state, and if they share this word with their network, their colleagues, automatically the state will continue to remain important in attracting new investments, new talent, new businesses, etc. So, very happy that IKON has recognized the best amongst the professionals, has also organized a very interesting panel discussion. Unfortunately, I have a flight to catch in another 1.5 hours, so I will not be able to attend the panel discussion, but I would request Leena to brief me later on if there are some concrete suggestions which the government should take note of, should follow up. I'll be very happy to do that. So, thank you very much for inviting me. Good wishes to all of you.
ఐకన్ బిజినెస్ కాన్క్లేవ్ ఈ ఈవెంట్ మేము ఎందుకు చేసామంటే మేము ఆల్రెడీ మీరందరూ చూశారు ఒక 3 months ముందు అవార్డ్స్ ఈవెంట్ చేసాం. అవార్డ్స్ ఈవెంట్ ఎందుకు చేసామంటే రికగ్నైజ్ చేస్తామని చేస్తాం. ఇది బిజినెస్ కాన్క్లేవ్ అనమాట. ఇది ఎందుకు చేస్తామంటే బిజినెస్ లీడర్స్ అందరినీ పిలిచి ఒక ప్యానెల్ డిస్కషన్ అలా పెట్టి హైదరాబాద్ బిజినెస్కి ఎంత డెవలప్మెంట్ చేస్తుంది, ఎంత కాంట్రిబ్యూషన్ చేస్తుంది, మన యంగ్ టాలెంట్ ఎలా డెవలప్ చేస్తాము అది డిస్కస్ చేసి హైదరాబాద్ ఆల్రెడీ ఎంత బాగా డెవలప్ అవుతుంది, ఇంకా డెవలప్ చేయాలంటే కార్పొరేట్ కమ్యూనిటీ, అకాడమియా కమ్యూనిటీ మేము ఇంకా ఏం చేయాలి అది ఆలోచిస్తాం. Now, in this opportunity, I also thank Jayesh Ranjan garu, who came and he delivered the keynote speech, and he emphasized on the support that is coming from government for this. Raju Reddy garu baga matladaru. I know freshers, startups, andaru em cheyali, daniki government nunchi em support vastudi adi chepparu. ఇదన్నీ మేము చూసాం. ఇది మేము కంటిన్యూ చేస్తాం. దిస్ ఇస్ జస్ట్ అ బిగినింగ్ అనమాట. ఇలా ఈవెంట్ ఎందుకు చేస్తామంటే ఇలా పిలిచి డిస్కషన్ చేసి ఇంకా బాగానే ఎంకరేజ్ చేయాలి. మోర్ స్టార్టప్స్ షుడ్ కమ్, మోర్ ఇండస్ట్రీ షుడ్ కమ్. అండ్ మనకి ఒక అంబిషన్ ఉంది, హైదరాబాద్ షుడ్ బీ ఇన్ టాప్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్. వీఆర్ ఆల్రెడీ గెటింగ్ ఇన్ టు ద టాప్. చాలా ఏరియాలో మేము టాప్లో వస్తున్నాము. వీ షుడ్ కంటిన్యూ దట్ ఈస్ అవర్ విష్. థ్యాంక్ యూ.